So I was taking a walk along the northern row of sand bins in the Reservoir District. This part is still under construction, so more plants are allowed to grow undisturbed. I was interested in these dogbane plants growing at the base of the sand bins. I liked the way their tiny white flowers and long seed pods looked in the warm early morning light. As I crouched near the dogbane, I noticed a lot of very small plants growing between the cracks of the stone pavers. I took several pictures, and this one stood out to me. I sketched it and decided to use the drawing to make a single color dry point etching. First, I transferred the sketch onto some tracing paper. I used 0.9mm H graphite in my mechanical pencil, which isn't very soft, but I'm hoping the lines will still transfer to my plate. I press down a bit while I'm tracing to get a strong, dark line each time. I decided to only use a ruler for the outer border because I wanted the lines in the sketch to keep a hand-drawn quality to them. I'll be experimenting with texture on the darker stone section, and I'm interested to see how much variety I'll be able to get with my etching needle. Time to remove the tape. And a reminder that tracing paper is very delicate. I won't be doing metal plate etching, mostly because I couldn't find some very old copper plate remnants I thought I had stored somewhere. Instead, I'm using Tetra Pak. This piece was cut from a Tetra Pak carton of chickpeas. I'm only taping down the top of the flipped over drawing, so I can check on how well the drawing is transferring as I go. I'm using a burnishing tool for the transfer, but the back of a spoon would also work. You're really looking for a smooth, rounded metal surface to rub over the drawing. I'm excited about doing dry point etching on Tetra Pak because I eat a lot of chickpeas, and this means I get both lunch and art supplies out of the deal. That's one pass done. So let's see how the transfer looks. The top part and a few other places are still a little too light, so I'll focus on using the burnisher on those sections. That's better. Now I can take off the tracing paper drawing and secure the plate with some tape. I'm not super experienced with etching in general, and even less experienced with working on Tetra Pak, so I'm just giving my best guess with how deep the etching lines need to be to hold ink. I'm trying to avoid the parts of the plant drawings that cross over the seams in the pavers, because I'm not sure if that will make too much ink cling to those spots. The straight lines are pretty easy for me to make with this etching needle. Things get tricky when I want to make a curved line. I'm finding it difficult to make anything but a wide arc. I get more familiar with how the etching needle works with the Tetra Pak as I move through each plant. And when I get to the kernels on the grass, I'm able to work out a kind of double arc line to approximate an oval shape. These difficulties have made me rethink the curlicue pattern I made for the darker stone at the bottom of the sketch. I've decided to just stab at the Tetra Pak and get a mottled, pockmarked look that will at least make the section a different texture. After stabbing for quite a while, I realized I needed to wipe away the graphite from the transfer so I could see where I hadn't stabbed as much as I wanted. I think that's enough. Maybe a bit more. Okay, now that's enough. Here's the finished etched plate. I plan to trim down the top and bottom of the plate to make it more square before I print with it, but otherwise it's ready to be inked up and run through a press. I'll be taking you through both of those processes in the next video. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'd really appreciate you liking this video and subscribing to the channel. See you in the next one.